All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dennis. How you doing today? Today we're going to go over the employee benefits for Twin Oaks, and Jim and Dawn were nice enough to pay a big portion of this, so the rates you'll see on here are very affordable. And what we'll do is we'll go over it. So basically, there's two plans that are being offered for health insurance. There's a basic and a premier. So if you go to the first page, you'll see there's a listing of hospital admission, surgery, doctor visits, pretty much everything you can think of as far as what would be covered with the insurance. After the specific thing, like say for instance the first one, room and board benefit per day, covered conditions except noted below. Basically, you look at that number under basic and under premier, that's how much the benefit is. You're responsible for anything beyond that. Under the number, under the value, like the $400 is a 90. So you can get up to 90 visits or 90 times use that benefit. So the only place that's different is if you see a 1, then it's a one-time benefit, or if there's no number, it's a one-time benefit. Everything else is the additional numbers. One other exception to that is doctor visits. If you see $60 and then a 4 next to it for the daily benefit for established patient office visit, that's actually 60 is your first visit, then you get 4 additional visits. So the visits, it's the number, it's the amount plus the number next to it. So the other thing you have is you can include yourself, obviously. You can include yourself and spouse, yourself and child, or the whole family. So there's different rates for all of those, which is on the second page at the bottom. Right above that are all the things you get that are included. You get $10,000 worth of life insurance. There's a network that you go on. There's a 24-hour nurse helpline. There's online wellness, on-call travel assistance, vitamins and nutritional supplements plan that are all included in this plan. And the very last page has the website that you would go on to find out which doctors are included in that and where you would find the network and that kind of thing. That's also Michael Shin, who is your contact for health insurance. So underneath that is the www.preferredbenefits.net. That's where you would find the information to get much more details than you see on here. But the main thing you need to know is there's a basic and a premier, and then depending on which one you choose, then that's how much you would pay per paycheck. This is a bi-weekly rate. So for instance, the employee only is $17 bi-weekly, so that's $8.50 a week. And these are being done right out of your paycheck and very affordable because of what your company has done for you as far as putting out a big portion of the premium in order to allow you to have benefits. So I think that pretty much covers everything. If there's any questions, we can handle those now.
Good on that one. Let's go ahead on to the next one, and then we'll do questions at the end,
Okay.
because I'm recording.
Do Aflac?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Well, one question, can you make decisions after you leave here and then?
I think open enrollment's gonna be the whole month of November,
Okay.
is that correct?
Yes, it
Dennis?
starts December 1st.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's pretty much with all healthcare, everything opens up on the first month of,
Did we get everybody?
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so now, in addition to your health insurance, you are also being offered Aflac, which is supplemental. So those of you that don't know what Aflac is, beyond the duck, it is supplemental voluntary insurance. It is not health insurance. It is designed to supplement your health insurance. Aflac is not something that is used to like be your primary benefit, whereas the health insurance we just showed you would be. Aflac also can be for yourself or family, except for short-term disability, and we'll go over all the individual plans. Aflac also does not pay any money to the doctor or the hospital, it pays money directly to you. And Aflac plans are very affordable, and what we'll do is we'll go over each one individually. So first of all, we have the short-term disability. Short-term disability is paycheck protection. Basically, this covers you for anything outside the job for injuries, because you're covered on the job by workman's comp. So this covers you for anything outside the job and 24 hours a day for any kind of sickness. It will cover you for up to 6 months for you being out for a sickness or an injury, and it will pay you depending on the waiting period. So there's either a 7 or a 14-day waiting period that you choose for sickness. The other waiting period is the very first 30 days you can't be sick or pregnant. Pregnancy is actually considered a sickness. That's what it's categorized as Aflac is concerned. So after that first 30 days, then you either have a 7 or 14-day waiting period, but in either case, you're paid day one on any kind of injury that would happen outside the job, that would keep you out of work. There's a couple of caveats to this. It's a guaranteed issue with a pre-existing clause. What that means is, if you either had or spoke to a doctor about something medical, you could not be covered for that one thing for the first full year of the plan. So from December 1st to the December 1st of next year, if say somebody had a heart attack between December 1st of last year and December 1st of this year, they cannot be covered for that heart attack for the first full year of the plan. After that first year is up, you're covered for that and everything else. So it pretty much covers you for anything that would keep you out of work except for pre-existing, but once you've gone through a year, then you're covered for that and everything else. So we're saving questions for the end? Okay. All right, so the next plan we'll go over is the accident plan. Whereas the short-term disability, excuse me, is just for you and only covers the individual. This can cover you and your whole family. One quick thing I needed to mention about short-term disability: if anybody's planning on getting pregnant, it covers you for 5 out of 6 weeks for a normal pregnancy and 7 out of 8 weeks for a C-section. So quickly on to the accident plan. The accident plan covers you 24 hours a day for any kind of injury. So if you go to the third page here, it kind of lists all the different things that it covers, but just some examples. So basically, if somebody broke their leg and they went to the hospital, they would get covered $170 for going to the hospital. If they went to the urgent care, it would be $120. They would get paid for the actual injury, which is roughly $600 for a broken leg. They get money towards crutches. If they had to take an ambulance, they would get money towards the ambulance. If they had to do rehab after the hospital, they would get money towards rehab. If they stayed overnight in the hospital, they would get $1,000 if they got a room number and actually were there more than 23 hours. So all these, anything related to that accident, they get money for. So if that person that just broke their leg is coming out of the hospital and they're walking on their crutches and they trip and fall and break their arm, they would get paid all over again. There's only one part of that benefit that's once per year, and that's the overnight stay in the hospital. So once per year, you can get $1,000 for an overnight stay in the hospital. Everything else is payable multiple times. You could hurt yourself or your children, whoever, 15 times in a year. They'll never kick you off. They'll never raise your rates. In addition to that, they also pay $25,000 for any kind of accidental death. And if it would happen on a common carrier like a plane, a train, a bus, then they would pay you not you, but your beneficiary, $100,000. On top of all that, once per year, you get $60 just for going to any doctor for any reason. So you can go to the regular doctor, the eye doctor, or the dentist, and just go for your normal visit, and you get $60 right off the bat. So some of the things you might not think of that are accidents are you bite into something and break a tooth. That's considered an accident. They would pay for that if you went to the dentist to get that fixed. If you're working in the yard, get something in your eye and go to the eye doctor, that's an accident. Any kind of outside force affecting your body is considered an accident, and it'll pay cash directly to you for the incident. It's the same price for 1 kid or 10 kids, and if you have any children that play organized sports, there's a 25% kicker on any of these benefits if it happens while they're playing the organized sport. So that's the end of that one. So the next one is the hospital plan. The hospital plan is designed to cover you for an overnight stay in the hospital for $1,000. This is really designed to help you with any kind of deductible you would have with the health insurance plan or wherever the health insurance plan would fall short if you were to spend a night in the hospital. So it pays $1,000. We actually can do up to $2,000 with no other approval. The rates you will see today are based on a $1,000 overnight stay. Excuse me. This could be for a sickness or an injury. So if you had the accident plan and you broke your leg and you were out of work, if you had short-term disability, the accident plan, and the hospital plan, you get paid by all three. That's the nice thing about this. But this can also cover you for an overnight stay for sickness. And what a lot of people will do if they're planning on having a baby, they'll take the hospital plan and the short-term disability, so they're covered for the 6 or 8 weeks that they're out for the delivery and the recovery, and they'll also get paid for the overnight stay in the hospital. In addition to that, this also pays money towards MRIs, towards X-rays, towards lab work. 3 times a year, you get $25 for going to any doctor for any reason. And if you do a family plan, it's 6 times a year, so you would get $150 back. So either $75 or $150 back just for going to any doctor for any reason like you would normally. So that's the hospital plan. It also has 2 other things. It pays $100 for a short stay, so if you just went in the emergency room and came out an hour later, in order to get the $1,000 overnight stay, you actually have to be there 23 hours or more and get a room number assigned to you. So So if you're there for 3 days in the emergency room, you won't get paid other than the $100. Okay. So the next plan is our cancer plan, which Aflac was founded on 64 years ago, selling cancer policies door to door. The way the cancer plan works is it's $2,000 upon diagnosis. If a child was on this plan, they would get, and unfortunately, if that were to happen, they would get paid $4,000 for diagnosis. There's a 21-cent per week rider that I make sure everybody knows about that pays $10,000 for a child. And a child is considered anybody under the age of 26, just like health insurance. If you take this plan as a family, children are on this plan for free other than that 21 cents. And you can do it for yourself, self and spouse, full family. It also, this one once per year per adult on the plan gets $40 for doing any kind of cancer screening. So mammogram, if the male, if he does some sort of blood work or whatever's related to cancer scanning, that you get $40 once per year on this plan. This one also pays for any kind of treatment. It could be chemo, nausea medicine, the ambulance that took you there. Anything related to the cancer is gonna pay you money. If you had to go to the hospital that you wanted to go to that was more than 50 miles away, it pays lodging, it pays transportation, pretty much anything related. Most of these are paid multiple times. There's a few that have limits on how many times you can use the benefit. The initial diagnosis is once, but everything else is pretty much multiple times. People that get cancer on this plan, we had somebody in our group where their mother got cancer, they took in about $30,000 from this plan. So it's designed to help you in that time of need, pay cash directly to you for your daily living to make sure that you're not in a bad spot if something were to happen. So, second to last is our dental plan. It's 2 sheets, it's the blue one and the white one. And basically the way the dental plan works is you get $50 twice per year for any kind of cleaning, and you get $35 for an x-ray. This is one of the plans where you actually could have the dentist get paid directly if you wanted to, but again, this could be paid directly to you as well. After 3 months, you can do fillings. After 6 months, you can do tooth extractions and root canals. After a year, you can do crowns. After 2 years, you can do implants. The plan starts off at $1,400 per person per year that you can spend after the waiting periods. And once you do those waiting periods, you never have to do the waiting period again. And every year it goes up $100 until it hits $1,900, and then that's where it levels off. So that's how much they give you to spend on any kind of dental work. All right, and last but not least, we have 3 different types of life insurance. There's term life, whole life, and juvenile life. So just for those that don't understand the difference, term life is basically what it says. It's a term, either 10, 20, or 30 years. Once that time is up, you no longer have any coverage. The way life insurance works too is if you get in today with us, with any of our plans, you keep that rate forever as long as you keep paying the premium. But if you do life insurance next year, it's gonna go up. If you do it the following year, it goes up every year that you wait to get into it. But once you're into it, you have that rate forever. So again, the term is 10, 20, or 30 years. Once it's done, you don't have coverage anymore, unless of course if you die, but hopefully that doesn't happen. And then you have the whole life. Whole life is for your whole life. So as long as you keep paying the premium, you'll have coverage, and it builds cash value inside of it. So part of the premium goes towards a bank account that grows 3 to 4% every year that you can use that money tax-free at some point to spend on whatever you see fit, like a house or college or whatever it is. Our plans can cover anywhere up to $500,000 of coverage. When you turn 50, then you can only do $200,000. So below 50, 500, above 50, 200,000. As far as the term life is concerned, you can do 30 years until you turn 50. After you turn 50, then it's 20 years. After you turn 60, then you can only do 10 years. And then the last plan is the juvenile life, which is for any child under the age of 17. You can do up to $30,000 of coverage. When they turn 19, it doubles in value. So if you took $30,000 of whole life for them, when they turn 19, it becomes $60,000. They can continue to pay at the rate they were paying when you got them on it, if it's 5, 6, 7 years old, whatever the case may be, and they can add to it with no health questions, and they can also use that cash value in there to use towards college or whatever the case may be. So that's pretty much everything.